Hi, welcome. This is the final part in which I take a look at the 1943 version of the Capcom shooters. This has been ported to quite a couple of systems. Let's go take a look. Welcome to the last part of the review series on Capcom shooters taking place in the Second World War. This is 1942, the Battle of Midway. It was released by Capcom in 1987 in the arcades and is also available on other platforms. This game is not running on the CPS hardware, it's running on 8-bit hardware. This time Z80 running at 6 megahertz. It's also known as 1943 Midway Kaizen in Japan. This game also takes place in the Second World War, and in this game you actually have to retaliate bombers that bombed the American aircraft carrier, and you have to make your way to the Japanese battleship Yamato. So this is pretty weird because in the rest of the games you are fighting this virtual Second World War type of enemy thing, closely resembling Japanese planes, by the way, but still, this being a Japanese Japanese game, and that you actually have to fight the Japanese to win, is pretty strange. It contains of 16 levels of gameplay, and yeah, basically you just fight your plane all the way to the battleship and try to destroy everything that's in sight. Yeah, great stuff. The 1943 Kai version is actually a reworked version of the game, and that has been created by Naxat on the PCEngine. I'll show you that game as well. Yeah, it was ported to the TurboGrafx PCEngine. It was also part of the Capcom Classics collection for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. But this game has also been ported to other systems, and I'm going to show you some of them that I have. It's ported to the NES. And it's also been ported to the Atari ST, which I couldn't find, but I have a copy of that as well. The ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC, that version is actually quite cool, quite good. The Commodore 64, and the Amiga. And yeah, like I said, it was released as part of the Capcom Classics collection on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. And it is also featured in the Capcom Classics Reloaded, available on the PlayStation Portable. Okay, let's go take a look at the footage. Okay, so here we have the TurboGrafx 16 version of the game, and I must say it is a very similar port to the arcade version. I think this is the Kai version, which is a reworked version, and it's actually a very good game on the TurboGrafx 16. So yeah, let's go take a look at the gameplay. Listen to that music, ain't it great? This really shows the power of the TurboGrafx 16 music capabilities. It's an 8-bit hybrid system, and if you look at the graphics, you wouldn't be able to tell it from a 16-bit machine. So this is actually a more advanced version if you compare it to the arcade version, I guess. So let's go start. Some nice Japanese characters on the screen. Okay. So Japanese fighter planes are actually flying in to destroy or attack your American space carrier. And you actually have to fight the Japanese that are coming your way. it's a tough game. And yeah, it's very similar to what you would find on the arcade, and it's a great home version of the game. It's a shame that they never released something similar on the SNES. The Super Nintendo would have been great at actually showing graphics like this. Okay, let's go shoot down that big plane. It dives down all the time. Okay, let's shoot these. Two power-ups. Okay, well, let me show you some other ports that are actually very much worth taking a look at. And here we have the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System port, which is inferior to the TurboGrafx 16 port, but it's a very playable game nonetheless, very playable. What is actually quite amazing about this port is the fact that there's hardly any sprite flicker, something that very often happens to NES games when a lot of game items are on the screen. Okay, so here we have an original Capcom port of 1943 for the Commodore 64. I think this game is very easy, too easy. Because it's very easy to fly around and shoot stuff. Your energy bar drops down, hardly drops down. The Commodore 64, of course, is quite a limited machine. It only is able to display like 8 sprites on the screen at the same time. But still, everything is there. The power-ups, the weapons, the music. No parallax scrolling clouds though, but yeah, it's all there. All the levels are there, and but the amount of planes that are visible on the screen at the same time is rather limited. And here we already finished past the first wave. So yeah, it's very easy to get ahead in the game, and the levels go by pretty fast. They actually circumvented the use of sprites by using character graphics instead of sprites for things like the bullets and stuff. You can actually see that. And collision detection is kind of off, I think, in this game. At least it's very easy to get ahead in the game. Okay, let's show you the Amstrad CPC version, because that version is actually the most spectacular 8-bit version out there. Okay, so load up 9043 on the Amstrad CPC. Well, everything is there. Great multicolor graphics, sound, and yeah, it's a bit slow, as you can see over here, and I think they're using character-based graphics as well. But they have smooth scrolling here. But the graphics of the planes are actually moving not as smooth as you would like on a shooter. But still, look at those clouds. Look at the sea, the texture in the sea, which is pretty cool, and the power-ups, and yeah, the way the sprites look is just simply amazing. I think this is one of the best looking Amstrad CPC games out there. Yeah, and one difference with the other games out there is actually that if you get hit and your power level diminishes, then you actually aren't able to fire your weapon for a bit, which actually makes the game more difficult, because yeah, if you get hit a couple of times in a row, you won't be able to shoot and just have to evade everything that's coming at you, and you won't be able to defend yourself. You can only move away. So as you can see, the game slows down sometimes, pretty much. And I remember seeing this for the first time back in the day at my cousin's CPC, and I was just amazed by the graphics and the level of detail, the music, and just the way everything looked. I mean, I wonder what they thought about this game back in the day. How good a rating it got back in the day. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I'm gonna cut that out. Sorry for that. Oh, perhaps I'll leave it in and surprise you guys. Alright. Just flicker something in the screen like a sneeze warning or something. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. So we finished. Yeah, it's actually quite. It differs a bit from the other games in such a way that it actually has specific tasks that you have to perform, and if you fail, you have to do it again. So that makes it a bit more difficult than the other games. Although it doesn't move as smoothly as you would like, I really like this version. It's very bright and colorful, very much like the arcade game. And of course, I mean, it's a lot slower than the arcade game, but I do like the way it looks and the way it plays, the way it sounds. Okay, well, the 1942 versions of the Capcom shooters are also available on the Amstrad CPC and the Commodore 64. And whereas the Commodore 64 version of 1942 is actually quite good, the Amstrad CPC version, man, that's horrible. I'll show you. 1942 on the Commodore 64. Great music, great gameplay, and a lot better looking than the Amstrad CPC version. And boy, let me tell you, this game is tough as nails. Well, and as good as the 1943 version of the game looked on the CPC, well, this game is an abomination! I know, it's sad leaving this final episode of Capcom 1940-something shooters with this horrible version of 1942 on the Amstrad CPC. But you can always go back and play those old videos again. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another video quite soon. Perhaps some more arcade shooters or home console shooters or whatever.